This is a short gardening tour. I am in East Tennessee, Zone 7A. It's July 9th, and we've had something like 7 inches of rain in the last 5 days. How is the garden growing? I'm Gail, the Gardening Gal, and let's check things out. Well, here's my Carolina amethyst plant, and it is just full of all kinds of peppers. It was laying flat over on the ground after one of the storms that came through, so I had to stake it up with 2 stakes. Well, this area with 5 different peppers, I had to stake them all up too, because we had a nasty storm come through on Tuesday, and we had like 70-mile-an-hour winds, but only for about 20 minutes. This one is, let's see, is Purple Rain, and it's doing pretty well. Still has lots of fruits. Now, I picked a whole bunch of them off it the other day before the last set of rains. Surprisingly, only one had cracked. Meanwhile, next to it, I'm afraid that Dwarf Arctic Rose is a total loss. I don't think I'll be growing this one again next year. So the rest of the bed, our marigolds are very happy. The beans look like they're doing well. We've got that big old marigold on the other side of the plant, or other side of the bed, and we have the one eggplant that wasn't doing all that great last time. It was kind of short. Yeah, it's no longer short. This is my eggplant nemats back here, and it is already past shoulder height on me. Now granted, it's 12 inches up in a raised bed, but that still puts it, boy, 3.5 to 4 feet. Let's check out the eggplant on it. There's already one pretty good sized eggplant on it. There's another one on the other side of the plant. And I have more eggplants coming. And the plant is still loaded with blossoms. And I'm going to have a lot of eggplants out of nemats bed here. Now, the interesting part about it, it's supposed to be able to be eaten raw like a cucumber. I will definitely have to test that out. Well, Yellow Monster is still producing a good set of peppers. It too got blown over, so it's now staked up with additional stakes that you can't see because the plant's so big. Now this one is Rosita. It's starting to have a whole lot of flowers on it. I really don't see any eggplant yet. The purple you see is just a pole. But this one has grown to be about twice the size since my last video. It is getting to be huge. Now this one is Nagasaki Long for the eggplant, and I hadn't been paying too much of attention to it until just now, where I see, yeah, a pretty good sized eggplant on it. There's another one growing, there's another one on the other side of the plant. Yeah, time to figure out some eggplant recipes, I think. Well, here's the first of my monster squashes that wants to take over the world. This one is in a 4-foot raised bed, 4x4, and it would be happy just to go ahead and take over the entire bed and forget about the beans that are also in the bed. But anyway, I probably picked about a good 6 off of it this week, and I think there are going to be more ready very shortly. This is the first of the green stalk towers, and the things that you see right now in the middle of the screen, those are the beans that I thought had died off. This is the dragon's tongue, and they have been coming back. So this is going to be very interesting for a second crop. This is my second green stalk tower. You definitely cannot see the tower for the trees, for the plants. Lots and lots of stuff in here. I have some peppers that are ready to go, and flowers, and everything you can think of in this green stalk tower. It is just so lush right now. Another squash that would like to take over the world. This is my Zucchio Rapicante squash. I already picked a squash off here that was about 2 feet long. Yes, you heard me right, 2 feet long. And yesterday I caught hummingbirds going for the flowers on top of the cage. So it's a nice pollinator for the hummingbirds, I guess. Here's another view of that Zucchio Rapicante plant. And yeah, it's going to take over this area of the garden. It's kind of hard to tell, but this little vine that's going out is probably a good 7 feet long. We had this big branch come down. It was pretty much on top of the tomato cages, but the tomato cages held it. So I was able to go ahead and pull it off and until I figure out what to do with it. With all the rain, the sweet potatoes have been going bonkers. Yes, bonkers. They are just vining all over the place. And what's interesting about sweet potatoes is apparently they will go ahead and if the vines touch the ground, they'll go ahead and root along the vines and produce more sweet potatoes. Looks like I will have a lot of rooting going on. Well, the potatoes aren't doing well. It is time to harvest them. I've already harvested, I think, 3 or 4 of the grow bags, and I actually went ahead and put another potato back into the grow bags, figuring why not try to go ahead and grow another crop, because, hey, I've still got about another 30 days of growing with her, but these need to get harvested. So here's one of the Kajari melons, and I have about 5 of them that are about this size on the plant. And the plant's doing pretty well. It is not growing all that tall, but it is definitely growing wide and spreading far. Well, I like melons, so if I like the Kajari melon taste, definitely worth it. Raspberry plants, we have Heritage and Raspberry Shortcake are doing well. They're showing out a lot of new growth. I have my Boston Pickling cucumbers front and center right now, and over here I have the China Jade, which is starting to do better. Well, time to play the funeral music because I had to tear out all my Zucchio long cucumbers that had been in this spot. They all of a sudden caught something. I'm not sure what it was. I think it might have been from my saved seed, and they just passed out. So I had to rip them out. Well, this cucumber plant is starting to do well. This is, let's see, double yield. And I've picked several cucumbers off of it so far, and if you can tell, I've got lots of mushrooms growing down here, so that's a good sign that there's plenty of good fungus growing around, so, you know, fungal mycorrhiza growth, so good thing for this particular plant. Well, this boxcar willow was totally blown over. I mean, laying on its side, blown over. So I had to stake it up with 3 stakes and kind of put the other cage along the side of it so it didn't get blown over anymore. But it's starting to produce flowers and it's looking pretty good. Can't really say the same for my caged tomatoes. Now these bore the brunt of the weather that came through because they were in the least protected spot. And as you can see, the poor Mystery Creek has just totally given up the ghost. Oh well. Now the one that's doing the best, or the 2 that's doing the best, let's go ahead and check those out. Kustrali is not looking happy down here, but up top it's producing still a whole bunch of nice growth. And then over here we have Blue River, and it's doing pretty tall. It actually is probably the best looking of all the tomatoes back here. And I have picked huge fruits off of this past week. I have some inside, so I will go ahead and try to take pictures of those. So here's my big beef tomato, and it seems to be doing pretty well now. Finally setting some fruit, so let's see what happens to it. And next to it is my set of jalapeno plants. This is Craig's Grande and Yellow Spice. I cannot keep up with the number of jalapenos on it, and with the wet weather it has loved it. So here's the alcove area, and first this is the squash that I may have regretted planting because I've got so many off that other one. Well, we'll see. Then we have the Celeste fig. All these flowers, the pollinators are blooming, and I've got the blue-eyed daisies, so let me go ahead and get a close-up of that. Well, they've been kind of storm damaged, but as you can see, this really is a blue-eyed daisy. It's really neat when you see it in the sunshine. The blue inside kind of glows. Now here's the Prairie Fire plant, Prairie Fire tomato, and the tomatoes aren't looking real good at the moment. I don't think they liked all the rain, but I have gotten some off the plant this week before the big rain started, and they're actually pretty good. So Let's see if I can get a good picture of it. This is the first of my black cherry tomatoes that is getting ready to ripen. Now here's the top of the black cherry plant, and that is higher than I can reach. I'll probably have to top this because there's no point in growing cherries or tomatoes that I can't reach, but lots of tomatoes on black cherry. Next to it is fireworks, and it didn't seem to like the rain quite as much. It is growing pretty tall, but let me see if I can get closer on some of the tomatoes. This is about average size, I think, for the tomatoes so far. I think they're still going to grow a little bit bigger. I do have a lot on the plant. It's kind of hard to tell because I can't get around to the back, but there's a ton more on the plant too, so here's hoping that fireworks taste good. Looks like New Big Dwarf has a new tomato that's about 80% ripe. We're supposed to get another 2 inches of rain forecast for today, so time to pick this and let it ripen indoors. The flowers, well, they didn't quite fare as well. Now the zinnia did fine. I had to cut back a lot of the other ones because they fell over, and I had to restake the dahlia plant, but the dahlia plant's doing well. But I'm afraid the echinacea really got blown over, and that is after trimming a lot of the flowers off of it. Well, from eggplants to peppers to towers to squash, we've got a lot that actually made it okay for this particular storm that came through. Anyway, I will say goodbye for now, and hopefully I'll be able to do some more videos in the next week or so, weather permitting. This is Gail, the Gardening Gal, saying goodbye and have a great week.